Personality type categorization, the DISC system. You need a foundation for effective temporary bonding and establishment of trust and rapport with your prospects. The more you know about people, the easier it is for you to adapt your style to them. Although each person on the globe is uniquely different from every other person, psychologists have provided useful categories for simplifying these differences. One such categorization summarizes 4 categories comprising the DISC, D-I-S-C system. Once you understand these 4 distinct types, you'll be able to place your prospects in one of the categories and respond accordingly. Dominants are the most direct. Their one-line operative can be, "Let's get it done now this way." Dominants have a high need to control and be independent. In negotiations, they tend to keep information to themselves, identify the other person's weakness, and exploit that weakness for personal gain. They focus on the bottom line, which for them means winning. Dominants want to draw their own conclusions instead of being led to the conclusion. Dominants tend to talk more than they listen. The summarized approach theme for influencers is somewhat warmer. It's like, "I'm glad you're here," they say. "Let's talk about what we can do for each other." Influencers, like dominants, are assertive and have a need for autonomy. However, they are softer and have a greater need for recognition and acceptance. They love to talk and will provide a great deal of information about their needs. They don't try to win at your expense because of their need to be liked. In negotiations, they rely heavily on gut feelings and impulsive decisions, which can sometimes sour their long-term satisfaction with a deal. They, more than the other 3 types in the system, are susceptible to post-decision remorse. The general theme of steady relators can be, "The most important thing is that we both come out of this feeling good about each other and our agreement." Steady relators want to maintain working relationships and avoid conflict at all costs. They control their negative emotions so as not to offend. Like influencers, they have a need to be liked and to build relationships. However, they are far less assertive and impulsive. Because change makes them uncomfortable, they are especially skeptical about new ideas, products, and procedures. They do make decisions, but those decisions tend to be deliberate and on an extended basis and often agonizingly slow. Compliance might generally say, "Let's take this more slowly. I want to be absolutely sure we cover every base." Compliance are risk-averse and motivated by security. Because of their strong need for perfection and their underlying insecurity, they continually seek reassurance that they are doing the right thing. They focus on details, making sure that everything works the way it should and that there will be no surprises. They make decisions slowly and systematically, weighing all criteria. Because of their insecurity and need for reassurance, they will seek more information from you than either dominants or influencers. Dominant prospects try to maintain control and walk away with most, if not all, of the marbles. During negotiations, they seek to control the agenda. They get to where they want to go because they lead, not because they follow. Non-verbally, they are likely to project a forceful, domineering posture and stance. When frustrated or angry, they may pound fists and point fingers. Vocally, they emphasize their position by increasing volume and maybe even using profanity for impact. Follow these tips when the prospect in front of you fits this profile. First of all, never convey to a dominant that you're hungry for the sign-up. Sure, you want the sign-up, but don't beg or plead for it. Giving the impression that your next meal depends on enrolling this dominant prospect will trigger his predatory instincts. Secondly, go to the bottom line and work backwards. A good opening line with a dominant is,
"Can we fast forward to the end of the movie and then work backwards? What exactly will you need to make you happy?"
Next, match the dominant's nonverbal behavior. Return the dominant's gaze. Move forward in your chair when the dominant moves forward. Use your voice and your body to emphasize key points. come across as passive and meek, and the dominant will turn you into roadkill. Fourth, with the dominant, limit small talk. Dominants want to get down to business quickly. As soon as you sense that the prospect is ready for business, switch from your social manner to your business mode. Dominant point number 5, draw lines in the sand. The dominant will seek to find out what is negotiable and what is not. What is a fixed, unequivocal policy and what is flexible. Without clear answers to these questions before any negotiation, the dominant may try to kick symbolic sand in your face. Sixth, recognize that dominants make assertions. Probe them. Dominants will try to structure cash card agent enrollment to conform to their wishes. They'll assert their requirements up front. Move beyond those assertions to uncover underlying issues with statements like,
"Yes, I understand you clearly. Why do you believe that? Why is that so important to you? And what do you mean when you say, I wonder if we could examine this issue further?"
Point number 7 with dominance is that you want to limit your answering of questions with questions. Answering questions with questions is a reliable way to keep pressure on the prospect, but this strategy will alienate the dominant, who can quickly move and is often most headed directly for the bottom line. Provide specific answers when asked specific questions. Follow-up questions after you present your information.
Sure, I'll be happy to answer that for you. But let me ask you this. How does that information help your decision process?
Dominant point number 8, if you're feeling pressure, identify it as an obstacle to crafting the best possible deal. Dominants want to win. Your feelings are inconsequential unless they get in the way of shaping a good deal. Consider this as a response to pressure tactics.
You know, I'm feeling pressured right now and a little uncomfortable. Because of this pressure, I'm afraid we might not end up with the situation best for you. Could we take a deep breath, sit back, and focus on how we can best solve your problem?
Number 9 for dominants, offer them choices. Dominants need control and often feed on it. You can't allow yourself to cave into a dominant as it sets a relationship tone you'll forever regret. Limit their alternatives to what will work for you, but offer choices within those alternatives if you can. You win, but dominants feel as if they won. Lastly, with dominants, ask for a summary of any agreements. Dominants are not the greatest listeners. Ask them to tell you what they heard. If there are any misunderstandings, clarify them on the spot. In order to verify that dominants view agreements in the same way you do, let them, not you, do the summary. Influencers have a high need for approval and recognition. They love to talk. They want to know about you, and they want you to know about them. They are likable and trusting. They will offer you refreshments and inquire about your comfort. In turn, they want to be accepted and trusted. In negotiations, they are likely to act quickly, take risks, and rely on intuition. After the negotiation, however, they may second-guess the decision. Non-verbally, they project an overall image of being open and approachable. They smile, nod in agreement when appropriate, and may even touch you on the shoulder, back, or arm when introduced. Follow these tips when the prospect in front of you fits this description. Point number 1 with an influencer, reflect the prospect's communication behavior. Return smiles with smiles, eye contact with eye contact, and nods of agreement with nods of agreement. Portray as much openness in your posture and gestures as the influencer shows. Secondly, create a personal relationship during the bonding stage. Show that you want to develop a long-term association that's mutually rewarding.
I'm not in this to simply sign you up. My main interest is in seeing us build a relationship that will be rewarding and satisfying for years to come.
Point number 3 with an influencer, if meeting in the home or professional offices of an influencer, acknowledge personal pictures, photographs, or certificates. Influencers create working spaces that are personally fulfilling and meant to reach out to others. Noticing the personal touches will earn you points. Your fourth point with an influencer, emphasize the intangibles of being a cash card agent. Appropriately highlight the prestige, distinction, or esteem you wish to bring out about cash card agencyship. Pinpoint its high caliber clientele, reliability of operation, and quality of service. Focus on intangible attributes as much as those that directly solve the prospect's problem. Point number 5 with an influencer is demonstrate how becoming a cash card agent will satisfy others who depend on this career decision. The influencer is making a decision that will affect other people throughout their known circle and/or sphere of operations. Acknowledge these people. Help the prospect see how much they will appreciate the influencer's positive decision. Point number 6 with an influencer is to listen for underlying feelings and motive. Influencers are in tune with feelings. Recognize those feelings through your responses to prospect statements and declarations. Your statements might include some of these examples.
It seems that what you're saying is, and the reason you feel that way is because...
And then let the prospect finish your sentence.
How much help would you think they'll need? What you said is very admirable. It shows concern for people besides yourself.
Item number 7 for influencers, bring third-party endorsements. Influencers are reassured by learning that others are happy being cash card agents. Offer testimonials and stories about how the lives of others have been improved. Lastly, with an influencer, get a commitment for every decision. To guard against an influencer prospect second-guessing their decision to move forward, ask the influencer questions to head off second thoughts. The answers to these 3 questions will tell you what it will take to solidify the prospect's commitment.
I'm not saying this will happen, but suppose a week from now you rethink this decision. What might happen then? Tell me again, what convinced you to sign on? What will you do if next week another career opportunity comes knocking?
Steady relators have a passive approach to problems. This doesn't mean they're weak, uninterested, or martyrs. They will take a position, but they are neither forceful or demanding in expressing it. As the term steady implies, these prospects take a measured and balanced approach to conflict and negotiation. They project an unassuming and amiable style. What they may lack in passion, they make up for in diligence. They are patient and persistent. Non-verbally, they project an openness and non-judgmental quality. If the prospect sitting across from you fits this profile, follow these tips. First, reflect the prospect's communication style. Steady relators listen attentively and focus on what you have to say. Their body posture and gestures convey an openness and willingness to discuss. Show them the same. Maintain eye contact. Position your body to see and hear as much as you can. Secondly, demonstrate a sincere interest. Social bonding is important to steady relators. They care and want to know you care just the same. You'll find more steady relators and compliant types amid recyclers than any other source. Ask about hobbies, family, and personal interests. Listen to the answers and comment. Share some of your own personal data, but only after attending to theirs. Third, with steady relators, be patient. If you give the impression of trying to impose your agenda or hurry to close the sign-up, steady relators will back off. They need to set a measured pace based on their own internal clock. Synchronize your clock to theirs. Fourth, with steady relators, demonstrate how you and your offer can be trusted. The instincts of steady relators are to be loyal to you. Give them reasons to see you as a worthy person and to judge you and your offer as dependable. Steady relator point number 5, limit the focus of analysis. Steady relators like to focus their attention on one particular aspect of your offer. Help them gain this focus and at the same time control the agenda by saying something like this.
Given your concerns and your analytical approach to decision making, Chip, I think you'd be most interested in focusing on the cash card agency deployment table. Is that accurate?
Point number 6 with steady relators, don't mistake passivity for weakness. Steady relators are not wimps. They'll be as thorough as other prospects. You'll have to be as sharp with them as with anyone else. They simply call for a different communication style. Compliants have a strong need for security and are very risk-averse. They tend to focus excessively on details, procedures, and policies. The resulting behavior is often manifested in perfectionism. In decisive situations, they need constant reassurance that they are making the right decision. They are much more interested in hearing what you have to say than in telling you what they want. Their nonverbal cues are cautious, controlled, and guarded. If the prospect sitting across from you fits this description, follow these tips. First, reflect the prospect's communication style. Compliants project caution, concern, and focus. They position their bodies to listen intently and to take in as much information as possible. You should do the same. Through steady eye contact, a sincere tone of voice, and attentive posture communicate your desire to serve. Secondly, uncover organizational factors that might increase insecurity. Consider these questions that get at the risk felt by the prospect.
Have you regretted similar decisions in the past? Why did you regret that decision? Are you under any special pressure regarding this decision, and why is that?
Thirdly, emphasize your willingness and ability to diminish risk. Show how you can reduce the uncertainty associated with decision making. Consider building a safety net for compliance without bending so far that you create an unprofitable situation. For example, expanding the usual after sign-up service, lengthening a hand-holding period, negotiating above normal contract obligations. Point number 4 with the compliant, highlight your referrals and satisfied agents. Compliants seek safety in numbers. If they see that others have signed on and are satisfied, they too may make the leap. Provide whatever endorsements you can. Compliant point number 5, show how your offer will reduce pain. Pain reduction is especially important to compliance. Whereas other types of prospects are concerned with the what, compliants are more interested in the how. If you lack the technical details exactly how and why being a cash card agent relieves certain pain, call for presentation reinforcements. Compliant point number 6, validate the prospect's cautious approaches. Although compliants may not explicitly seek your approval, they nonetheless respond well to it. Compliment them on an approach that will ensure that the right decision is made.
I think your idea to shorten your work week on your current job will better enable maximum cash card income while still permitting you to address the few job obligations you have remaining.
Point number 7 with a compliant, use the best case, worst case scenario question. Ask, for example, these questions.
Describe the best case scenario that might result from becoming a cash card agent. Describe the worst case scenario that might result from becoming a cash card agent.
Demonstrate that the worst case scenario is highly unlikely and that the best case scenario is highly probable. Lastly, with a compliant, bring out the data. Compliants crave proof. Point to numbers, statistics, result, and any other comforting details.